I'm going to be real with you. I want a do-over on yesterday's news. Because this was absolutely made for Salty Saturday. Folks, according to sources familiar with the matter, by which I mean the man himself, Donald Trump is going to be arrested on Tuesday. Oh, here's CNN talking about it.
Major new developments involving former President Donald J. Trump. Trump saying today he expects to be arrested on Tuesday and is calling for protests. He made the announcement today on his social media post, lashing out at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, which has invited him to testify before a grand jury. The arrest would be part of their investigation into alleged hush money payments to Stormy Daniels during.
They're going to read it, I'm sure. I want to read it. Wait. Page 2, Jesus Christ. Now illegal leaks from a corrupt and highly political Manhattan District Attorney's Office, all caps. Oh, I can't get enough. And whose leader is funded by George Soros, Jesus Christ, indicate that with no crime being able to be proven, and based on an old and fully debunked by numerous other prosecutors fairy tale, the far and away leading Republican candidate and former president of the United States of America. Wait, this is a run-on sentence. Former president of the United States of America, finally admitting former, will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protest, take our nation back. Oh, there's all kinds of dangerous stuff to warn about, be ready for, but let's just enjoy this for a minute more.
During the 2016 election, again, if there is an arrest, that's according to Trump. Trump also called for protests over his pending arrest to, quote, take our nation back. This development comes as sources.
Oh, I just got to look at that face again. You give her
called
that
for
lower
protests
third.
Over his pending arrest to.
Good God, look at that. That is, you could not have a better picture for what that man appears to be feeling.
Quote, take our nation back. This development comes as sources tell CNN that law enforcement agencies in New York are also now preparing for the possible indictment of Trump. CNN's Polo Sandoval is outside the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse for us, and we can also begin with CNN senior crime and justice reporter Caitlin Pallant. So, Caitlin, to you first in Washington, what more do we know about this possible arrest that the former president is announcing on his social media post?
Well, Fred, when and what is going to be charged, if it is charged, we don't have the answer to that yet, and neither does Donald Trump. At this point in time, his team, through a spokesman, has made very clear that there has been no notification.
This is apropos of nothing. That lady looks so much like every roommate you've ever had in like every college roommate you ever had, right? I just feel like she has the most relatable look about her.
Made to him or his lawyers that he is going to be indicted or when that indictment is going to happen. However, Trump is very aware of the politics of this and the bluster and the bully pulpit that he has. And so he is agitating for his team to try and get his base riled up. He did say in that post about protests, asking his supporters to.
I don't know why she's putting that extra layer. Maybe he is also agitating for his team to do things. But the point is, he directly, in what appears to be January 6th 2.0, he's directly requesting that his base act foolishly. And remember, the whole point, and by the way, it appears to be, it's increasingly apparent that prosecutors are looking at this like a RICO case. When I say prosecutors, I mean all of them. All of them appear to be looking at this like a RICO case. The important thing to understand is that you cannot just take things at their literal face value meaning with this guy. Because multiple people have said, no, he never directly told me to do something, but he made it obvious what he wanted. It's the exact same thing here. Let me get rid of that blue transparent box. The far and away leading it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Take our nation back, he says. Protest, take our nation back. Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. Didn't say no. Didn't disavow. That's who this guy is. And that's also why he's got to go. Fella's got to be locked up. That's simple. Keep it going, roommate.
Protest in some way. He also is sending a message to the New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg. And if we step back for a second, Fred, the reason that there is this expectation of Donald Trump that he will be indicted in New York by the DA is that the long investigation into the Trump Organization and payments made to Stormy Daniels for hushing her about an alleged affair she says that she had with the former president. Those investigation, that is nearing the end. We know that because there was an invitation to Trump himself to come into the grand jury and testify. He declined to do that. We do understand through our reporting this morning that another witness is expected to testify before the grand jury on Monday, so it does not appear they've returned an indictment at this point that would cause Trump to come in and turn himself over that quickly. However, it does appear we are in the end stage of this, and the grand jury will be reviewing the evidence and at some point, very likely, voting on whether the former president of the United States should be indicted. Fred?
All right. Thanks so much, Caitlin. Now let's.
Respect to the brother standing out there in the freaking cold, getting ready to do his hit. I am doing this from just a chilly space. And I already am trying to think of a way I can make it a gimmick to wear an actual jacket during the stream. I might just do it anyway.
Go to Polo Sandoval outside the Manhattan courthouse. So, Polo, what can you tell us about any preparations by law enforcement agencies that might be taking place, especially after the former president will make that announcement via post?
Yeah, Fred, still with many questions about the when. They certainly don't want any questions about the how they would handle all of this. And that's why you have these conversations that, according to our colleague John Miller, are ongoing among local, state, and federal law enforcement officials that are in close contact with also officials at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The crux of the conversations there, exactly how to navigate this scenario with a potential indictment, and then also the choreography that would come involved with potential charges being filed against the former president. And that's why these conversations have been happening. And in this post-January 6th world, you better believe that courthouse security is one of the big parts of the conversations that are happening right now, with law enforcement officials privy to the discussion saying that they are preparing for potential demonstrations for pro-Trump demonstrators to come together here in Lower Manhattan, and the potential of any possible clashing with anti-Trump demonstrators. And so this is certainly something that is top of mind behind the scenes as they prepare for the coming days. And certainly also the U.S. Secret Service having their separate discussions about how it would work in terms of getting the former president to Manhattan, getting processed, getting potentially booked here when and if that indictment is announced. And this is a routine, Fred, that we should mention is certainly not unusual for the New York state court system here, but it's certainly, because of the complexities that come with this, it certainly would rise to the level of being
look, he didn't offer anything that we didn't really hear yesterday to some degree, but just underlining with other presidents, were this the case, we wouldn't have these concerns. Like, the same set of facts, a payment, yada, yada, yada. We just wouldn't have these concerns. Nobody would be like, well, they're not sure how they're going to get him in the cell. And still, no, like, this could be wrapped up without... My only point is that, like, You wouldn't have to worry about the guy saying, like, I'm in this cell. Somebody break me out. You wouldn't have to worry about him starting in prison. It's just... It's probably good that we have a procedure on the books after this for how to arrest a president. In a country where anybody is subject to the law, it's good to have a procedure in place. And it's very funny to me that future presidents that we arrest, and by the way, I hope we don't have a president that breaks the law again. But since we've had a bunch of presidents that broke the law, I hope that the next time it inevitably happens, we can look at this and arrest them again. I don't care if they're a Democrat. I don't care if they're Republican. If you break the law, you get arrested. That's that. And if it's an unjust law, then you allow yourself to get arrested and you change the law through legal means. That's it. But I'm glad that we are establishing now these procedures. We're figuring this out. And the next time we're going to be like, all right, hit him with the Trump. Throw his ass in the president's cell. You, Mr. President. You're getting the presidential suite in prison.
Unprecedented as we prepare for the coming days, Fred.
Right, and that involving a former president. Pola Sandoval, Caitlin Polentz, thanks so much. We'll check back with you throughout the afternoon. Let's talk more about this right now with Elliot Williams. He is a former federal prosecutor and a CNN legal analyst. Elliot, good to see you. So what do you make of the former president who would say this via his social media post? Do you believe that he has any particular intel that says he might be arrested on Tuesday?
Well, let's look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, right, Fred? Look, the truth is he might have received heads up from law enforcement that he had a surrender date as of whatever, whether it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and that he had to turn himself into law enforcement by then or face an arrest, right? Now, that's if this were all working normally and accurately, of course, that would be how prosecutors and law enforcement in New York would handle it. Or he's just making it up based on things that he read in the newspaper, and there's no way to know either of those things. But
for the record, I'm dry watching this clip. I just saw the headline. I've seen other things like this. Frankly, I just wanted to get some CNN in while they're still a respectable organization. Yeah, just want to underline what I said before. If this was another president who had done a similar thing, it would literally just be that. There would be a discreet phone call from a friend on behalf of, so probably from a friend in the Justice Department who would say, hey, look, I got to break the news to you, pal. You got to turn yourself in by this date. It'd probably be good if you were discreet. But as I said yesterday, I never even considered that Trump would do anything but kick and scream and make it incredibly public. Has no sense of how to handle himself discreetly. In other words, those of us in the upper class know how to do our scumbaggery with a bit of class. When you go to the whorehouse, you don't put up a post saying, go to the whorehouse. Oh, Christ. I got arrested down at the whorehouse. Can you believe that? No. Say you're going to the art gallery or whatever the hell fancy people do. I don't know.
To be clear, this is to Polo's point, there's nothing novel about a defendant getting a call from law enforcement prior to being asked to turn himself or herself in.
Okay, so then on that first point then, when you say, there may be a surrender date, and then it might say you face arrest, if you don't comply. So what is usually the gap between that? If he did receive a, surrender date notice of a Tuesday, if he didn't comply right away, then would that mean a matter of hours, within the same day,
Oh,
or
yeah.
days?
Within
weeks.
within a day. I mean, I'm sorry about that. It's within a day. It would be your surrender date's Tuesday. We can arrest you starting what maybe it lists a time 5 p.m. and at 5:01 p.m. you're subject to arrest. Now they may reach out to your attorney or they may try to get you to come in, but no, you are subject to being arrested by this would be NYPD cops or whomever else as soon as that surrender moment or date passes.
Okay, so any potential indictment, or arrest would stem from the probe of Trump's alleged hush money payment to former adult film star Stormy Daniels. Are we talking about a misdemeanor or felony?
It could be either. Under New York state law, there is and I'm admitted to practice in New York. There's a misdemeanor for business record violations. He could be charged with that. If in fact those business record sort of lying or misrepresenting on business records was in furtherance of committing a crime, which here might be campaign finance or campaign violations, then it bumps up to a felony with a 4-year maximum prison sentence. But it's just hard to know. And this is to Caitlin Polance's point earlier in the segment. We don't really know, other than what's sort of leaked out, what the former president might be being investigated for right now.
All right.
It is rare that we actually get catharsis like this in the United States of America.